Welcome to Esports Wrap. Now, it's been a while since we've really been on air, mainly because of my internet service provider, or ISP. But hopefully, all that's been cleared up and we should be good. So, moving forward, we're going to be talking today about Player Unknown's Battlegrounds. And with us, I have a very proficient player, Shawn, as he's going to be calling himself. Hey, bud. Shawn. You'd like to say anything? Introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Shawn. I'm from Freeport. PC gamer. From day one, talking like Windows 95. So from then straight up to now, yeah, pretty much all around gamer, but PC gamer more than anything.
Okay, cool. Now, um, we're gonna jump a lot, we're just like into this. Now, Player Unknown is a shooter, for those of you who don't know. And that's pretty much been predominantly the area of games like guns, Call of Duty, uh, so on and so forth. But this has kind of started to take over a bit, and you're hearing more about Player Unknown's Battlegrounds. We're just gonna keep calling it Pub. At least I will, going forward. Um, Now, you being a player and having played quite a bit out of, what really draws you to the game?
Well, for starters, pub is it takes so basically it combines a game like armor, which was like tactical, and you had all these options, and it makes it slightly arcadey in a way. It's not too arcadey, but it has a little bit of arcade elements to it, and then because it throws everybody into an environment where there's no set play, there's no buy this gun and your rate of fire will give you the victory. There's no set play, and because of that, it continues to draw people in because it's every game is different, and you're in a map with 100 players, and you don't know what's gonna happen. When you land, it's helter skelter from there. So I think that's what keeps people playing, and I think that's what keeps the game current and relevant for right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, we have to also take into consideration, like, this is a game that technically has not really launched. This is all just a beta test so far.
Yeah. Well, for me being a PC gamer, I think I'm kind of used to these long betas. I've been on Ark Survival, which just launched as a full retail game. I've been on 7 days to die, which still is an alpha, I think. The Forest, which didn't even make a launch, it died out in like alpha something. So I've been a part of this alpha community for a long time. So I mean, I consider it a game because we're playing, but uh, how do you say as it stands, it's not actually an official game. It's still being beta tested, and it's not released on consoles just yet. So I guess you can say that. But for me, I know it to be a game because I've been in a lot of alphas thus far, and it's how they all go, how they all start.
Okay, so for a game that's still in beta and has this huge following behind it, there are esports like competitions going on just based around this game already, and it hasn't launched yet. Like, you typically don't see that kind of thing for something that doesn't have the full support it's supposed to, and it's
Mm.
set for like, okay, coming on maybe like next quarter of this year, even though it's already been out from what, March, March I think, yeah,
Yeah,
March.
shit, yeah. Mm.
So let me have you. What's your take on the whole competitive side of it? Considering it still has more to do, but yeah.
Definitely the game can see some competition. For right now, it's the random is probably what s- stops it in a way from being super competitive. We don't know. I don't know how it's going to evolve, but uh, again, because there is no set play, a lot of the games that are MLG are like there's their set play. You do this and you do it really good at the right time, you win. With this game, there's none of that, and some random guy can get a jump on you in the beginning of the game. So I think that allows it to be a good um, MLG game, but at the same time, it probably hinders it because you won't have the same ah, like I don't know. It is team based, so if you have a solid team, yeah, I guess we can see some good teams coming up. But the random dude, the random makes it so much more crazier because you can go in a whole town and not find one SMG or one AR or automatic rifle, and that's you like because at that time everybody else is already fully loaded and ready to go and you don't have anything, so because of those variables it I don't know if it can fully emerge as a proper MLG game, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I've had some of my own concerns in that regards because I know when I played it, uh, I had the issue that I'd go into town
Mm.
and I'd go into town after town and I would only find these little like scrapes of
Pistol.
stuff, and I'd find the weapon. I wouldn't find like the game at all. I mean the ammo. It it is annoying.
It is. And
um,
I think though they addressed some of that with the recent update. They just had an update that dropped maybe 3 weeks ago, 2 3 weeks ago. It seems to fix a lot of that stuff. The spawn rates of vehicles. Um, a few things it's addressed, and I know they're doing another update where they're giving everybody vaulting because I know that's been a big issue being able to jump over or vault over specific things in your way because it hinders your movement a lot. So they're still addressing things. We still have to remember it's in beta, right? So those things are going to be worked on, but that is definitely what they do have to look at the spawn rates of weapons. And I know they don't want it to be consistent. They don't want it to be where somebody can put a mark and be like, go here and get this gun.
yeah.
So we again, I'm not sure how that'll play out to be an MLG game when it's so random.
Now I have a feeling the reason why they really did that whole vaulting thing is because I saw another streamer who was playing the game and they kind of did some little odd thing. I think that's the best way I can really describe it, other than what they do
Mm.
is they would find a particular kind of house, drive a motorcycle up into the house, take it up onto the second floor, it would block the door. And so the person would open the door and would not be able to like come into the room, and then they just get blasted.
Wow. Okay, I have not seen that one.
Yeah. Um.
What what I have experienced personally though was so we were playing a game and it's now down to the last 5 people. So I played duo with a friend of mine.
Mhm.
So it was him and I, another team of two, and one other stray guy. So my partner got tagged. He was down by this one guy. I took out the team of two, and oh no, to back up. This is what I'm getting to. So the one guy, my partner was in the corner, and he jumped fired, and and I don't think they addressed this issue yet. When you jump and shoot, your accuracy is pretty much spot on. So what he did was he jumped up, kept jumping and shooting, and he just tagged my partner because there isn't any. For example, in Counter Strike, if you jump and shoot, your bullet is not gonna be anywhere near your crosshair because realistically, it doesn't work that way, right? But I think that's an issue they have not addressed. So I've seen with these weird bugs as well, where people do these unique tricks to get the upper hand. So I can see where you're coming from.
Um. Now, keeping in mind that this game isn't active, well, isn't up for public and stuff like that, quote unquote. But the fan base that it has, which is huge comparatively speaking. Um, when you play the game, what keeps you coming back?
I think again, it is the randomness of it all, and being dropped into a battlefield. So it's that battlefield feel without. the set play, like I said before. So you drop into this island at any point that you want, and you choose your location, and you're with your buddy, your friend, and you guys get to live out that, like, and the game is based off of oh, what is the movie? Uh, I can't remember the movie right now, but it was a Japanese movie about these students that were put on an island and they were given weapons. But you get to play out that kind of thing, and it comes down to being witty rather than being. I mean, your skill, your accuracy of shooting does lend to it, but it comes down to being witty and just ahead of the game, ahead of your opponent, and it gives it that chess feel. It's not you losing because you don't have the best guns. It's more of you losing because you didn't reach in time, or like these guys had a better plan than you. So you don't feel cheated. You feel like, okay, I just got to do better next time. I got to look out for these things, and you can improve your play and not feel like you're getting beat because of these weird mechanics, but rather just being beat by a better player. You don't feel salty in a way, and you can just jump back in another game. It's so I like it because of that. I think that's what really draws people to the game.
Okay. Now, before the implementation of more spawns of stuff, and I guess you could even answer even up to now. I told you my experience with finding one piece of the item that I need
Right.
and not finding the rest, and of course because I can't kill anything, I get killed. How how often would you say that typically happened before this and after?
Okay, so I can't. I guess I came into the game a little later. I didn't really get it when it initially debuted, so I don't know when like the spawn points of items were like really bad. When I came in, it was weird, but it wasn't necessarily bad. And we never because when I play, I usually always play duo, so it's always me and a friend. And because we were like both searching houses, we usually be like, okay, what do you have? I have a MK, I mean an AKM, or I have an AR. Okay, well, bullets over here, and we kind of work in that way. So it never really feels like, because if you're playing as one person and it's so many houses, you can definitely feel overwhelmed by how much things you have to look through versus when the field comes in to push you into the other players. So as a single player, that experience can be pretty tricky and pretty difficult. But playing duo, it's a lot better because we can always kind of be like, what kind of guns are you planning to use? And then, okay, if I find bullets for you, come over here. And if you need a gun, I got a gun for you, kind of thing. So I don't experience the lack in finding weapons that much. It has happened before, even with two players, and then it just gets weird. You're like, dude, what is happening? We just scoured a whole town and there's no weapons. That's just one of those games that just kind of happens sometimes. But usually, it's never that bad. So I can't necessarily speak on that, but you know, yeah, I can imagine it happening, and definitely in single player. Yeah.
Now, it's more than just shooting and whatnot inside this game, because yes, you can beat someone with your fists, and I've seen that actually happen before. Uh, but there's also the element of, and I kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, vehicles and
Yeah.
motorcycles, Humvees, like all that other kind of random stuff.
Mm.
Um, how would you say those really factor into the gameplay?
They they definitely help. Because it changes the strategy. So let's say, so basically in the game, a field closes in and pushes everybody to meet. People have to meet. You can't camp in the game. So you can use a tactic where if you land and you see that there's a vehicle near you, you can, and you're far away from, because the game, how to say, it randomly generates where everybody needs to go. So there's no one place that you are always going to go. So sometimes you're way far on the outer outskirts, but if you see that you have a car, you can choose how long you stay in a specific town that's out of the way. So if I'm in a town like Gatka or something that's way out, I can be like, okay, I can stay here because I can have a car that can carry me to where I need to go in the time I need, rather than, oh, I can check two houses and leave now because I'm only on foot. So the vehicles kind of change the game in that way. But but with that, it also, it lets players see where you are, because once you make noise, they know where you are, and usually players use tactics around that. So they'll be like, okay, the vehicle's going that way. Let's follow them on foot. When they get out, we just snipe them from far or something. So there are strategies that go against and come along with the vehicles. But all in all, it's good for the game, because it doesn't really, except in your situation where the guy you sit to come in the house. I've never seen that. But beyond that, it doesn't really like give you any extra advantage, because you can still be shot through vehicle, and you while driving you aren't armed. So there's no super benefit or any unfair advantage of using a vehicle, other than it gets you across the map, quicker. You know. So I think it's balanced.
Okay, now you kind of mentioned something while you were talking about the map randomly selecting these areas that you need to go to. Can you describe that a little bit more for our viewers?
Okay, so in pub, everybody is thrown onto one island. Let's say for those who are Bahamians, it's an island like Grand Bahama, and you can choose where you land on this island. You can land in West End or Freeport or East End, wherever. But once you land, the game gives you like 2 minutes before there's like a field. There's a field that comes in, and if you are outside of that field, you will be dealt damage, and over time you will die if you stay within the field. So you have to continue moving. The game doesn't allow camping. And so, along with that, are specific places that the field closes into. So for example, if Grand Bahama is the entire island, it'll create a field so big around Freeport. You're in West End now. You have to move from West End and get to Freeport, and that it'll start to center itself. So even though it's in Freeport, it'll close in more on like the R&D or a place like that, and it'll continue to close in smaller and smaller to bring everybody together so they eliminate each other. And so it stops the whole Call of Duty camping thing. Even though you can camp, that's still in the game, but that comes at a price, because if you fall behind, the circle moves faster than you run, unless you have like energy drinks or painkillers. The circle moves faster than you run, so you can't camp forever and be able to make it into the circle in time. You have to choose how you play that out. You have to choose how long you camp and when you decide to move. So that's how it is. That's how the game is.
So you kind of have to start moving from before the sirens start to going and saying, the area's starting to close and the
No,
circle.
the thing is, you can't get caught behind the circle. The circle won't kill you immediately, especially when you first drop in. The circle is very lenient on the initial drop. It doesn't chip you out as quickly. You can be outside the circle and run in and just heal up. But when it gets down to like the third, maybe the second, third circle, if you're behind it, it starts chunking blood a lot quicker. So, but initially, it's very lenient. You can be like really far out. There are times that me and my friend literally thought we were dead. We were on foot and we're running to the circle that are like meters away, and we make it in time and just heal up. So initially, it's very lenient, but after that, it takes more and more blood. So you have to kind of be ahead of it and kind of plan it out how long you want to stay behind it, because that is a tactic as well, because people don't expect other persons to be behind the circle. They expect everybody to be ahead of it. So if you stay behind it and allow people to advance, you can get the upper hand by going behind them and getting the drop on them. So again, there's so many tactics in the game. I feel like it always keeps every instance of the game new, because there's so many things you can use to your advantage and to come up with a game plan.
Hmm, that's interesting. Um, Now, conversely, like the first person to get inside the area could then set up and start to get ready to snipe kind of stuff. Then.
Yes and no, but again, so when you find a gun, you have to find a scope, because all guns only come with iron sights. And for those who don't know, iron sights are just basically the little how to put it, the little piece on a gun that allows you to line up a target. And in that game, it's not really effective. So in order to be camping and sniping, you have to find one of, well, two things. You need an automatic rifle, I mean, an assault rifle, sorry, or an AK, and then you need to find a scope, and then you need to find a scope with a good range, because because the map is so big, a regular sight will only allow you to see so far, and it'll only allow you to hit a target that's so far. And it's where the game again gets deep because what I didn't know until a few weeks ago was that you can dial in your scope, which is for those people who like really shoot rifles can like attest to. So if a character or if a person is at a certain distance, you can dial in their range in meters and like kind of adjust for where they are and bullet drop and all that stuff. So the game gets really crazy in that sense. So you can get like a 4x, dial the scope into like 300 meters. You know how far 300 meters is. You shoot, boom, you shoot them in the head. So you can dial in all these weird things. But in order to camp and that whole scoping thing, you have to find those items which aren't given. They're random. You can go into town and not find a scope. You can just find a rifle, no scope. You can go into town and find scopes, no guns. So there's no I get there first and I am king of the hill. There's no king of the hill in this game. There's none of that. People can flank you. People can like smoke you out. It's there. There's no king of the hill in the game.
So
Well, to a degree. Let me not say that because I could definitely be wrong. Sometimes the circle does drop smack dab center on a house, and whoever's in that house has visuals on everybody coming into that area. But that's late game for one, and it doesn't normally happen, but it definitely could happen. So that could happen, but it's not a consistent thing.
I gotcha. Now they've they've honestly, from what I've seen, really been trying to make this game as entertaining as possible. Even
Mm.
going to the lengths of, I think a few players were able to play a game where some persons were zombies and some persons were pretty much trying to survive the zombie
Survivors, yeah,
apocalypse.
yeah, yeah.
Like when it comes to stuff like that, how do you feel about the game and the direction they're taking with stuff like that?
That's pretty cool. For that mod, I think it takes the trust of the other players because I think what it is all the other players have to not use weapons or something. I don't really know how it works. I never played it, but I've seen it being played. But I think they have to come to agreement to not use weapons or anything like that, and they just kind of chase down like one team. So everybody else works together, and you have like a team of one or two that try to survive them out. And again, it's cool because it has all these modes that whatever you're looking for, kind of. If you don't want to play that intense portion of the game, but you like the whole so many people, and you can kind of find games. Well, hopefully it gets to that point where you can find games that suit your style. Because I don't know if you know, but they just implemented first person, and that's oh dude, that's a world in its own. Like I can't. It's that is too tense for me. That is something in its own world because driving changes and your field of view changes. So you don't. Whereas in third person you can in third person you can hold the alt button and you can like see 360 around you like it's God's eye view. So you can see if somebody's coming from behind you. In first person, that is removed. You cannot. You can only see like to your left, to your right, basically as you are in real life. So you don't know if somebody's creeping up on you from behind, they can see you. So it changes the whole dynamic of how the game's played. But again, they've made these modes for those people who want, something more competitive because it's definitely more competitive, and something more realistic. So I agree to them making those mods. Those mods don't really hurt anybody. It doesn't really take away from what the game is, and hopefully they can have a actual zombie mode where they're NPC zombies and kind of you have teams trying to survive this whole horde. That would be cool. So I'm down for them.
That's cool. So, okay, you've been playing for a while, and I think we've established that. What would you say are some tips for new players coming into Battleground?
Oh, tips. Oh man, tips. What are tips for new people? Quickly, like don't if you land and people are around you, if a team is around you and it's you and a buddy, always go. Maybe one person goes looking for a gun, the other one distracts. There's so many strategies, man. Don't go to the military base. Stay away from that place. It's
Yes.
the devil. The military base is the devil. Don't be a hero. Live to fight another day. Um, Learn to use your shoot. Initially, when you go into the game, you always want to kind of dive down early. But if you use your shoot properly, you can really make it to. Because Okay, so in the game, when you start, the plane always goes in a random direction across the island. So it can go north, it can go south to north, it can go southeast to northeast, it can go any sort of direction. So it kind of changes what places you can reach when you jump out the plane. And so if you know how to use your shoot properly, you can make it to places that are further out that could possibly have good weapons and less people. Because you want to kind of, if you're not a good player, you want to kind of avoid as much people as possible, you know. And other than that, just always kind of watch your back. Always have ammo, and yeah, I think that's about it, man. Like, oh, stay in the bushes.
Stay in the
The
bushes.
bushes, the bushes are the OP of the game. Because people, there's so many times when a buddy and I were just in the bush and teams just run past us, and we're like, they, they didn't see us just now. Like we're in, like they legit just run straight past us and you get the ambush. So trust the bush, stay off the roads, watch out for people. Yeah. Oh, and another tip: take off your boots. If you take off your boots in the beginning of the game, your footsteps are a lot quieter. So,
I didn't
there's
know
so
that.
many though. Yeah, there are so many tips to it. So,
Okay, well that's awesome. And I see we have a comment from Ashwood Bodie. He was asking about affordable gaming computers. That was on Facebook. But like I responded to him. It kind of depends on what he's really looking for. At least,
right,
because I mean, you saying computer, that could be laptop, that could be desktop, and that could also be what does he consider affordable? That could be
right.
under a grand, under 2 grand. Um,
It,
what do you
yeah,
guys think?
definitely. When it comes to computers, you have to be so much more specific in what you're looking for, what you want it to do, kind of. Because for me, I'm an editor, so I need my computer to be more than just a gaming thing, you know. But for people who just need it for gaming, I mean, AMD creates I like what the cheapest brand of GPUs and CPUs, like the poor man's version. I mean, they have gotten so much better, but basically, you can build a computer, gaming computer for like 500 if you want it. But it just depends on what all you're planning to do with it, you know. So I don't
Well,
feel, yeah,
yeah, he's saying he wants something that can play Battlegrounds. He wants a desktop. Um, I mean, if you're really looking at it, you could probably go. I wouldn't say get anything under a 1060 if you're going with Nvidia, which is more on the higher end of the graphics.
mm,
Or if you want to go with AMD, like Shawn was saying, then that's probably going to save you a little bit as well.
yeah.
You're gonna want
Um,
to. Sorry, go on.
oh, there's a good site that a friend of myself and a friend used to build our PCs. It's called PCPartClicker. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Michael, but it's basically what you do is you choose your GP your CPU, your processor, and it'll show you everything that's compatible with that processor, and it'll give you basically a listing of what everything that can go for it and what's the cheapest and where you can get it from for the best price. And so you can basically pick all the parts for your PC, order them from all those different places, and get it like tightly crunch your budget if you're one of those people.
Yep.
But it also has, I think, like people who build PCs for specific prices. So they have like personal builds that people do that you can look at and be like, okay, I like that idea. Blah blah blah. I can change this out, swap this out, and you can take their complete builds. They give you all like where they got their parts from. And so like right now, it's so simple. I think it's so simple to build a PC. You just need to know, what kind of price you're looking at, what you're trying to get. You know.
I do have to agree with what Sean's saying, to be quite honest. Um, okay, yeah, he says he knows gaming computers can go up to 2,000. They can actually go up to a lot more. They can go up to like
Oh
five,
yeah,
6,000. But
you can go up to whatever you want at this point.
but then you're really starting to get some crazy stuff right there.
Yeah.
I know my laptop, which is what I use to game, and I'm doing this on. That was around 2,000 or so, right there. So,
What are you
um,
using?
it's custom built. Sega.
Look, oh Michael, look at you. I have a Sager too. I don't know the pronunciation. I call it Sager, you call it Sager, but I have one too. I think they're one of the best unknown companies at the moment building like gaming laptops.
I
Like I bought
agree.
mine. I bought mine like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Dude, oh, amazing. I mean, just amazing.
But yeah, I think that probably covers it.
Okay.
I don't. Is there anything more we can really talk about when it comes to the computers or
Well, Pub is about to go to consoles. That's gonna be interesting.
that's true too.
Uh, we're gonna get that crossover, which is where the world should be going in gaming now. One big family.
Yes.
And so we may get that age-old question answered, whether PC players are better than console players when it comes to shooters. So
I think
yeah.
we may find that out probably next month when Destiny 2 comes out because I suppose that's already on console and then that's going to be out on PC.
And it's
So,
cross-platform.
yes.
Well, I mean, in terms of
Yeah,
then
console and
yeah.
PCs will be duking it out together. So
Okay.
that should be interesting. We may
Yeah.
find the answer to that particular question a little earlier than we think. But I know pub is a bit more complex with certain things.
Yeah, that's because I was thinking about how that would definitely translate to console. Because you can prone. There's just so much configurations,
Yeah.
that nah. So I don't know how they're gonna do that.
All right.
Right?
Um, thanks everyone for joining. This is one of my two shows that I do. This one's of course Esports Wrap. The other one is Tech Talk, which is on Thursday. Both shows are at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'd like to also once again thank my guest Shawn for coming on today and talking about his experiences with PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Uh, thank you everyone. Take care.